Happy Thursday out there, everybody. Let's turn the fan off. We don't need that. How we doing out there? Welcome to Jazz After Dark, a show that's not really for the kids that like the 30-second tips and tricks and things. Gotta hang out with me for a little bit. Enjoy a drink with me if you're old enough. And if you don't drink, of course, water, your favorite beverage, will do the trick. The point is just relax. Let's just learn some things, right? I'm continuing to enjoy this Widow Jane here. Very, very good. And I've come to realize, for those of you that enjoy such a thing, this would go well, and maybe I know, maybe I don't, goes well with a Camacho, the red label, the Corojos. Ooh, spice on spice. Normally you wouldn't do that, but that is very good. So I'm just getting settled in here. I want to talk about something that comes up a lot. By the way, Wine and Wealth starts in an hour. So if you're one of our clients, we'll join you there. We're going to be talking about all the changes to your retirement accounts. Some good, some not so exciting, but we're going to cover those. Otherwise, one of the things that we're blessed and thankful to have the ability to do is work with so many clients all over the world now. And a lot of them are in retirement. We're based in Florida, so you might guess that we attract a lot of retirees down here just because that's the makeup of the population, largely. And one thing that I would not be able to relate to, I'm 40 years old. I'll be 41 later in the year. But being 40 years old, I can't relate to how somebody may behave in retirement unless I've experienced it, right? So if you're someone who's near retirement, you think, what's this kid know about retirement? Well, truthfully, I have not lived in it. I will be working here until you pull me out of the chair, right? So I can't relate, but I have tons of clients that are in retirement or deep in retirement. And I can tell you that, those little one-time expenses that you're like, darn it, that thing added up, man, I didn't expect that to happen. That doesn't change when you retire. So one of the advantages that I have is being able to see what other people are going through and essentially live that, through those people and help and adjust as we go. So when you're working, and if you're working still, right, you're out there doing your thing, we have an emergency fund. Well, that's in case we lose our job or there's some emergency. Usually it's not a very big emergency unless you lose your job. And that's really what we're talking about. Replace your salary. When Susie Orman, Dave Ramsey, and Bruce Williams, my guy, when they talk about emergency fund, they mean you lost your job and maybe unemployment pays for some of it, but you need some money. That's what that's for. Well, just because you retire, I don't have to replace my income anymore. Well, there's still those one-time expenses. I'm going to give you an example here. We'll pop on over to Duke and Edna Ellington, and I'm using them again because Eric has changed the names of all my other people out there. He got rid of Pat Metheny. He got rid of Louis Armstrong. He got rid of Brian Culbertson. He got rid of all the names, man. So we've got Duke and Edna here. And if you don't know, this is our more advanced software that we use for clients that really need a little more detail with their planning. One of the things you're going to find is that Duke and Edna here have about a 71% chance of being successful. It's not amazing, but it's not make or break. I'll give you that. We can make it work. But one of the first things I do is I go, okay, 71% chance. Let's just go down here and look. Now, actually, we know from our last class, we know that we've solved for some of the money. Duke should be putting all his money here in the IRA. And actually, that should give him a few more dollars. I don't know. Yeah, all right. So it makes it a little better. Remember, we did that the other day? So let's leave that for a second. Duke and Edna are 41 years old in this scenario. They want to retire at 63. We got a 71, possibly 72% chance of successfully retiring, making some little changes here. But like I said a second ago, one of the first things I look at is over here. I go and I see in their goals section, we're going to retire at 63. We have retirement monthly expenses of $3,500. We're just taking what's called a simple approach here. We have some health care in there that's not a part of this. Good. We have a vacation, $24,000. And this is going to be every year for, it's going to start when they retire and it's going to go for 10 years. So that's good. That's a nice vacation, huh? And they're going to buy a condo in Florida And they're going to do this when Duke retires. Okay, so that's not so much in retirement, but it's a part of it. And so this is where I like to look and say, you're so close to your retirement, being successful or not. Have we planned for those one-time expenses? How can we plan for that? Now, the easy answer is for me to come in here and say, I need you to add a goal, and we're going to call it other, and we're going to say, whoopsie, right? And we're going to make it, we'll do it like this. We'll say it's $2,000, and the frequency is every 2 years, just to put something to it. And we'll say until you guys both pass away. So that's one thing you can do. You could just start itemizing the potential whoopsies that you might have out there. So far with me? Yeah? I don't know. I can't hear you guys. So, I'm sorry. I try not to swallow in the microphone. I know that's like a pet peeve of mine. So, that's one idea. The other idea, and by the way, look at the impact of this. If I go over back to the retirement, let it calculate for a second. Pop over. Here you go. Look at the impact. Wow. It gets a little tougher. We may have to pull from some vacation plan, that $24,000 a year. We may have to come up with something else, but I hate taking things away from people. I don't like, that's your thing. Some reason you came up with $24,000. I want to make sure you can do it. So another thing that we can do is we can look at your accounts. So in this case, they have some investments here, right? And so we've got a rollover. They joined us here at Jazz, 133,000. We've got a Roth rollover, 36. That's very typical. Edna has her IRA 47, a Roth at 130, and 190 in what we're calling our first bucket. And it's probably pretty conservative. Yeah, it's all focused in as cash, very limited investments at the moment. So one of the things we could do is we could say, how about having no itemized sort of emergency goals put in there? The thing we just showed a second ago. Because we could let you borrow against your brokerage account. That's acceptable. Now, you may have a different feeling about debt than somebody else. And so this is like, follow your beliefs in this case. But what if the emergency came from this first bucket of savings? They've got 190 in there. What if I let them borrow up to 150,000 of this money without selling their investments or doing anything? You might have heard of this called asset-based lending, and we let our clients do this. You say, well, that's got to come at a cost, right? Now, surely costs something, and it does. Let's explain. So you may borrow some money, maybe $2,000 for an emergency or something. We've basically set up a line of credit against your account. And because we have your money, we don't have to charge you 10% to do it, or 15 like a credit card or whatever they charge. So maybe it's 5%. And we say, okay, we're going to charge you 5% interest. And you just have to pay back the interest. You don't have to pay back any principal or anything until you're ready to pay back. Well, that sucks, right? Because that's 5%. I don't want, okay, I'm borrowing my own money, which I see the advantage there, but it's costing me 5%. Taxes aside, and maybe remember they're 41, so they're not in retirement. Could we not set up something where their yield was 5%? And so therefore they're borrowing from themselves in the event of an unexpected expense? Yeah, absolutely. That's happened to countless number of clients where we've had to do this. So don't just look at, when you're making your plan, remember there's other opportunities out there for you. Don't just look at your spreadsheet or whatever it is you're using and say, I'm going to have to put in something of an emergency. We can get rid of this because we now know that we can borrow from his account for free. Now, we don't want to, we're not going to go out borrowing $150,000 to go buy that house in Florida. That doesn't make sense, too much. But if there's an unexpected expense of $3,000, of course, we can borrow against that for that moment in time and offset the interest costs that Goldman charges for taking the risk. We could offset that by yielding 5% or even more just to pay a little tax and stuff in there. So that's an option as well. So just two things tonight, right? Real simple thought there. A lot of people want to itemize every little thing. What if you could borrow from one of your accounts? What if you were already going to take money out of your Roth anyways? Don't let you retiring make you fear unexpected expenses. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's normal. And I'm, again, no experience, because I can't say that I've lived it, but I can tell you there's two things that happen when you hit retirement age. Number one is you panic. You panic, man. I always tease everybody that retires. I say, hey, well, let's go over your withdrawal strategy and everything. And if you need a house to come by and sit and drink and cry a little bit, you're welcome to come over to my house, right? Because you've had a paycheck for 40 years, maybe longer, and now you have no paycheck. Just think about that for a second. You voluntarily stopped what is probably your highest paychecks that you've been getting because you're older and hopefully you've earned your way up the ladder. That's the first thing. The second thing you panic about is, well, I've factored in everything except the unexpected. What happens if there's unexpected? I'm going to have to use my cash, which means I've drawn down my retirement earlier. Oh my gosh, that means I'm going to be behind. And I voluntarily gave over the paycheck. You know what I'm saying? So obviously, I know that I can relate because you could tell I've lived it with people, but don't just volunteer for whatever you think is simple and, oh, I just didn't know any better. This is not the year that we say we didn't know any better. I want to give you, maybe you didn't know about the asset-based lending. Maybe you didn't know that was an option. I want to give you that as just a thought. You could totally write it off and say, it's not for me. I don't like that. That's fine that I can borrow for free and all that stuff. Don't want to do it. But know that that's that second level. Maybe you go a little different direction and we come up with something else for you, but not just say, we don't want to just say, well, withdraw from your IRA, you had an unexpected expense. Oh, crap, now you have to pay tax on that withdrawal because you withdrew and it was pre-tax dollars. Let's take the extra step. I'm going to say that all the time this year. This is the year we have to take the extra step. And I'm not saying that means join us. Of course, this is marketing and everything, but it means that you're going to have to think one layer deeper, be one step ahead, because that's, sadly, we're living in a world now where money is getting tighter and is going to continue to get tighter. That's what the Fed says anyways. All right. I will wrap it up there, and we'll get ready for the old Wine and Wealth starting in an hour. We do that every Thursday for the most part, unless it's a holiday. But we do that every Thursday for clients just to educate you a little bit, a little more detail than what we can go over publicly there, so that there's one extra touch point throughout the week of just being in your ear, right? We don't sell anything here, so you just show up in the class, we just hang out, teach you a little bit, and get out of the way, right? It may not have anything to do with something you're interested in right now, but if I teach you, then maybe 6 months from now, maybe a year from now, maybe when you retire, you go, you said something about this. Tell me more because I need that. I need something like that. And that's the goal. So we're just trying to always be here. You guys know that. We're always available, always here for the closing beat and all that good stuff. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm going to go do my thing now. And we will see you again tomorrow. Huh? Old Jazz After Dark at night? Yeah, I think it's good. See you later.